So you've got a good basis here, and I would encourage you to continue your studies and learn and get to the top of your grade. So let me give you a couple of lessons on what it's going to take you to succeed in this life. Number one is determination. Number one thing that you need to learn and practice, you do it here every day, is determination. Never quit. Do not quit. We don't quit. Number two, have the yearn to win. Don't give up. Compete to win. Don't give up ever. Compete to win. You'll know what winning is. But we don't lose. This country hasn't lost a war. And we never will. Because you won't let us. Number three, be responsible for your words and actions. Be responsible for your words and actions. So what's number one? Right. Be determined. Don't quit. Number two, determine, win, right? Compete to win. Number three, be responsible. Be responsible. Number four, what's number four? What's the thing that most, the fourth thing I'm going to tell you? Mr. Gaspar, what do you think? Respect. Respect to each other and those that you work with and around. I mean, when you look across the group here, there's a lot of folks. Got folks from New York, got folks from Maryland, got folks from Virginia. We're all Americans, right? Anybody here not an American? Where are you from?
Honduras.
Oh, that's great. Who else? Where? China? Who else? Where are you from?
Georgia.
Georgia, very nice. Where are you from?
Kosovo.
Kosovo, that's great. So we have our international partners here. Lesson number 5, we do it together. So we don't do anything alone, we do it as a team. And we build teams that win, that are respectful. That's what we build. And all your brothers here from other countries, it's part of the international team. How many countries do you think we had in North Afghanistan in 2018 to 2020? Anybody venture a guess? Go ahead, Ms. Bronson.
20 or so?
Exactly, at 21. 21 different countries that I was the deputy commander for. So when America fights and wins their wars, we do it with other nations. So we fight and win our nation's wars with other nations. That's been a long-standing tradition. Our first big partner were the French during the American Revolution. Anybody from Yorktown? Okay, you know the big obelisk up there by the battlefield? There are more French soldiers that died in the Battle of Yorktown than American soldiers. How about that? So a couple of years ago, the French stealth cruiser Lafayette, and General Lafayette was the French general that came over to support us, diverted from its cruise to go celebrate D-Day with American forces in New York and went up the York River to Yorktown. The crew came off and they went over to that obelisk that you see there, and they put a wreath down, and the captain of the ship and the French consulate general from Norfolk came out and they talked about how they were very thankful to the United States for saving their country in 2 world wars. And then they fired a 21-gun salute and they continued on their cruise. So you have a lot of partners here from across the world, and these are your friends, these are your brothers. These are the people that you'll grow up with and know the rest of your lives, and that's important. So I gave you 5 principles on what it's going to be like. Be determined, compete to win, respect, togetherness. Got those? That was 4. What's the 5th one, remember? Well, actually, we'll throw in another one. How about honor? Anybody talk to me about honor? What's honor mean to you?
Honor to me means respecting others, like you want to be treated, showing others how you want to be.
Okay, respect to others, show others how you want to be. What about you? What's honor to you, Mr. Larson?
Sir, keeping your word and not breaking promises.
All right, keeping your word, not breaking your promises. So I'm calling for a exfil, and the helicopters say we'll be there at 21:23. That pilot's going to be there with the ships to pull me out of a bad situation, because I trust him, because he's a man of honor. He's an officer of the United States Army. What does honor mean to you? Well, you can't do that twice in a row. Mr. Walker, what's honor mean to you? Yeah, respect. What's your plaque out there say? Cadet will not lie, cheat, or steal, or tolerate those who do. Do you have that here?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we have that here. We have that at VMI. We have it at West Point. We have it at most of the academies. You don't lie, cheat, or steal, or tolerate those who do. That's a cornerstone of what it takes to be an officer. So an officer's word is an officer's honor. When you give your word, that means you're going to be there. It means you're going to do it right. That's important. There was a general that I worked for. In 1991, Lieutenant Colonel Dick Cody, commanded a fleet of Apache helicopters. We had, the first time we went up against Saddam Hussein, he had gone into Kuwait to the south and taken over this innocent country. The United States led a coalition to expel Saddam from Kuwait and to stop his oppression. We hinged all our operations on an airstrike that would open up. It was called Shock and Awe. You can read it in the history books. Watch it on some of the films from back then. But we had thousands of fighters and missiles launching at strategic targets in Baghdad to destroy the command and control system of Saddam Hussein, this dictator. Everything hinged on one operation, one single operation. There was a radar station on this hill in South Iraq that would pick up any helicopter or airplane flying towards Baghdad. This was on Saffron Hill. General, then Lieutenant Colonel Dick Cody, led a flight of Apache helicopters that went out and engaged that radar site and destroyed it before they could pick up the radar signature of our armada of thousands of aircraft heading north at a single time to take out strategic targets in Baghdad. On his honor, as an officer, he flew and he engaged that radar site, and with that opened up the massive onslaught that we did, and you'll see it on TV, where Baghdad's targets were hit, and ended Saddam Hussein's ability to fight a war. Later on, our ground forces swept through Kuwait and expelled, captured, destroyed the Iraqi army, and then freed that country. Fast forward, that's 1991. 2002 and 2003, I'm in Kuwait preparing land forces to go north to take on Saddam Hussein again. And I'm dealing with the Kuwaitis. And what do you think the Kuwaitis remember? How the Americans came to save their country. So the French come over and thank us for saving their country on a battlefield in Yorktown where they lost more soldiers than we did. The Kuwaitis are thanking us for saving their country during a time where they got occupied brutally by a dictator. And it just goes on and on and on. So folks, when you're out there and you're thinking about what you want to do in the future, think about a life of honor, of respect, competing to win, determination, never giving up, serving your country, taking care of your families, taking care of your homes, the respect that we have for our flag. An American flag flies everywhere with pride, but it's because you'll be able to do that.